Hello and welcome to the 8th episode of Static Timing Analysis. In today's episode, we will discuss about SPEF file. This file contains the details of the parasitics such as resistor, capacitor and coupling capacitor due to the metal or via interconnection during the place and route stage. These parasitics contribute to RC delay, which in turn can affect the AT-RAT calculations. Thus, the SPEF file is very much important for the STA analysis. Here is our menu for today. First, we discussed the introduction to the SPEF. Next, post-layout parasitics visualization, extraction, position in the ASIC design flow, SPEF and the entire design, various sections of a SPEF file, details of each section of a SPEF file with example. Overall, standard parasitic extraction format snippet. This is basically a short and sweet example of an entire SPEF. So we are done with this particular slide, so let's move on. Introduction to SPEF. Now, let us have a general introduction to the SPEF file. Standard parasitic exchange format SPEF is an IEEE standard for representing parasitic data of wires or nets in a chip in ASCII format. That means it's a human readable format. Metal or via in routing have parasitic resistance, capacitance, coupling capacitance associated that are captured by SPEF. These nets also have inductance that is excluded in SPEF. SPEF is used for delay calculation, signal integrity check, crosstalk analysis, EMIR analysis of a chip, which eventually determines its speed of operation. This file cannot be hand created. So this is a very important point. We cannot write a SPEF file by our own hand. This file is created using industry standard extraction engine. This is very much important. In the design flow where we are placing the extraction, you will see that at what stage this extraction is done and how critical that stage is. So we cannot write the SPEF file by hand. So we are done with this particular slide. So let's move on. Post layout parasitic visualization. In this slide, you are going to visualize the difference that the SPEF file makes on top of the actual design. In this slide, we will overlay the content of a SPEF file over our design. This slide is for educational explanation purpose. Hence, the circuit diagram are kept over simplified format so that you can grab the meaning quickly and easily. This is our pre-layout synthesized netlist. You can see that these are several logic gates and their interconnection. Now, this is the post-layout parasitic RC annotated netlist. Can you spot the difference? Yes. This and this. These are parasitic resistors which are contributed by the SPEF file. Now, you can see that the number of nodes have increased in the circuit. This increment is due to the addition of the parasitics. For simplicity of the diagram, we have not shown the parasitic capacitors. The added nodes are often called subnodes because these expands the existing node into many more new nodes. Another avatar of the SPEF file is SBPF, which is binary file and hence cannot be read by human being. This is for the STA tool consumption only. For very large design, SBPF is useful because of its faster loading time. Now, one thing I would like to say before concluding, this annotation is done by some of the EDA tools. The SPEF file contains the information of these additional parasitic R and Cs. Those are highlighted in this diagram. So we are done with this particular slide. So let's move on. Extraction, ASIC design flow. Since already I have mentioned that the SPEF file cannot be hand created, you must know at which stage of the VLSI ASIC design the SPEF file is generated. I will describe the ASIC flow and point out the stage where the SPEF file is generated. This will make things clear for you into your mind. Here we start. First, we have the design specification, and in this direction the flow is going forward. Next, we have the RTL coding, which you know, that is HDL coding. Next comes the verification. Next comes the synthesis stage. Next to it, we are entering into the backend stage, that is power routing, and sometimes there could be a pre-layout ACA just between these synthesis and power routing. Next comes the global placement. Next to it comes the detailed placement. Next, we have the clock tree synthesis. We have covered this column, so we'll move on to the right hand side. The next is global and detailed routing. We will proceed in the upward direction now. The next is layout generation or changes. Next to it, we do the DRC and LVS of the generated layout. Next, we have the parasitic extraction, that is PEX. At this stage, we extract the PEF file. Next, we have the static timing analysis, that is post layout static timing analysis. Next, we go for the EM and IR verification or EM/IR analysis. Next, we do the LEC and final tape out checks. And finally, the design is ready for tape out. So folks, you have noticed that, let me bring my mouse pointer here. So these are the front end stage, and here it is entering the back end, and after so many steps comes the parasitic extraction stage. Here we extract the SPEF file. So it is so many level down. So at this stage it is very critical, because now you have all the previous steps done, and sometimes each of these steps may iterate one more time because to eliminate the errors. So multiple times these steps can iterate and or reiterate, and finally when we come up to this stage, we have consumed a huge time. So at this stage we extract the parasitic extraction. So at this stage, this is very crucial design turnaround time, and at this stage we extract the SPEF. This guides you one more thing, that the SPEF, if we try to hand create, we cannot, because there are a lot of dependency here, so many steps before this, so we cannot create it by hand. Whatever we can create by hand is at the very beginning, when we are at here. Okay, something at this stage, maybe in front end something we can hand create, but after crossing so many steps, we cannot do anything by hand creation. Everything has to be as per the design flow and through the proper tools, that is EDA tools. So guys, we are done with this particular slide, so let's move on. SPEF and the entire design. You may wonder that we have taken care of the parasitics of the metal via interconnection through SPEFs. An obvious question comes, what is about the interconnection inside each standard cells? Here goes our diagram. As you can see that the standard cells are interconnected by nets. The PEX file, that is PEF file, for nets is called PEF. Similarly, the PEX file for the cells are extracted in DSPF format. These are used during the standard cell characterization to calculate the internal delay. The delay and timing data for these cells are captured in the timing library file, that is .lib file. We have covered this file in detail in one of the previous episodes of this series. I'll provide the link in the description. So guys, if I bring my mouse pointer here, all these nets which are interconnecting the standard cells in the design, they will go to the SPEF. So when they go to the SPEF, each net will have its R and C, the parasitic R and C, all those data will go to SPEF. And the design have the standard cells, all those cells have their respective DSPF file where they have their parasitic data. But whenever we use the static timing analysis, we are concerned about these nets, because these cells have already characterized and their data for timing is already captured in the .lib file. So we are done with this particular slide, so let's move on. Various sections of a SPEF file. The SPEF file is a very large file with huge amount of data. However, it is divided into 4 distinct sections for clear interpretation of the huge amount of data. Here are the 4 sections. The first section is a header. The next section is name map. The next section to it is the port section. And finally, we contain all the parasitic information of resistor, capacitor and coupling capacitor in the RCCC section. In upcoming slides, we will describe each of these sections with definition and example. We will append one more optional section called layer map in the last slide of this video. The purpose of this slide is to imprint the 4 sections before we plunge into the detail. We are done with this particular slide, so let's move on. Header section. As the name suggests, this section resides at the top of the SPEF file. However, we do not have a footer section in SPEF file. Header section is a kind of identity card of the SPEF file. Let us see in detail. The header section contains information about design name, the parasitic extraction engine name, naming convention and units. So let us see the thing with an example. First, it goes the first line of the header, that is SPEF, and it gives the IEEE version. Next goes the design name. Here it is XA5017. By the way, all these data are imaginary data. These are not from any actual data or design. So date is something here, the date on which this file was generated. Vendor is ABC Imaginary Corporation. Program is the parasitic generator. Here the name of the parasitic extraction engine will come. Version 0.0. Design flow netlist type Verilog. This has a specific set of values. You can consult the respective extraction engines manual for this particular field. Next comes the divider. Divider means it's a hierarchy separator. If the design is a hierarchical design, the text will be separated for each hierarchy with this particular delimiter. Next comes the delimiter. That is the usual text delimiter. Bus delimiter is the rectangular brackets. Time unit is 1 picosecond. Capacitor unit is 1 femtofarad. Resistance unit is 1 kilo ohm. And L unit, that is inductance unit, is 1 microhenry. Although you have kept it here, but generally in practice the inductor is not present. So we are done with this particular slide, so let's move on. Name map section. For multi-million gate design, the SPEF file will contain huge number of nets interconnecting them. Thus, the SPEF will be very bulky. The name map section provides a way to use shorthand method for net names, which are usually very long for a hierarchical design. Thus, to reduce the overall file size. Let us see how. To reduce the overall file size, SPEF convention is to convert long name of the nets to be mapped to a shorter numbers preceded by an asterisk. The mapping or lookup table is defined in the name map section. Here goes our example. Start, then in all caps the name underscore map starts the section. Next comes the 509 is the mapping number, and the actual net name is here is F_C_EP2. Similar way, we have the other mapping numbers for all the subsequent nets like this. So let me just bring my mouse pointer. So these are shorthands and these will be used in the entire SPEF instead of the full net names. And here you can see this is a hierarchical net name. So when all these long text or alphabets, you can count how many alphabets are there. They are replaced by only 3 digits and 1 asterisk. So that will help the reduction of the entire file size. So if you have to know in a resistor or capacitor about this particular net, you have to come back to the name map section and you have to follow this lookup table to know what is the corresponding net name. Later, these shorthand are used instead of the large net names as like star:509:16538 means an internal node of the net F_C_EP2. So guys, we are done with this particular slide. So let's move on. Port map section. The chip talks with the outer world with its pins, which act as ports to exchange the signal between the internal circuitry and external world. These are captured in the port section. Let us have a look to the port section. The port section is simply a list of top-level ports in a design. The direction of the ports are marked with I, O or B for input, output or bidirectional respectively. So these will be always in upper caps, this I, O or B. Now let us see one short and sweet example of the port section. The section start with star then ports. It will be on all caps. Next we have star 1 then I, star 2 as I. So all these are ports. And we have star 3, the value is O. The star 4 has value O. Star 5 has value O. Star 6 has value O. Star 7 has value O. Star 8 has value B. And star 9 has value B. So please don't confuse this I and O with 1 and 0. So these are I and O. Whatever you have in the port section, those are I and O on the right hand column. And don't confuse them with 1 or 0. So let's move on. The DNet section. The largest part of the SPEF file is the RCCC section, which is subdivided into DNet, that is D_NET, then con, CONN, RES, and cap sections. In this slide, we will talk about the DNet section. DNet means the distributed detailed net. Sometimes in RSPF format, there can be a similar section of RNet, that is R_net, meaning the reduced net. Let's now focus on the DNet section. Each extracted net will have a DNet section. This will contain a DNet line that start with star, then in all caps D_net, a con section, a cap section, a res section, finally an star end line to end the concerned net section block. So the DNet starts with star D_net and ends with a star end. In between it will contain the con, cap and res sections. Single pin nets will not have a res section. Nets connected by abutting pins will not have a cap section. The DNet line tells the net name and the net's total capacitance. So when this DNet line is there, the last field will contain the total lumped capacitance of this particular net. The capacitance will be the sum of the all capacitances present in the star cap section. So this lumped capacitance is the sum of the all capacitors present in the cap section. The con section, the connectivity of a net specified in detail in the con section. This section is very important for the STA as well as the EMIR tool. So let us get familiar with the con section. The con section lists the pins connected to the net. A connection to a cell instance starts with a star I. A connection to a top level port starts with a star P. The syntax of con entries is star I, then we have the field pin name, then we have the field direction, then we have star C, which follows next two values, that is X and Y coordinate, and finally we have the loading or driving information. So it could be either loading or driving, cannot be both at the same time, where the pin name is the name of the pin as per the design. The directions could be I, O or B as per input, output or bidirectional signals respectively. The XY coordinate will be the location of the pin in the physical layout. For an input, the loading information will be star L and the pin's capacitance. For an output, the driving information will be star D and then the driving cells type. So we have the short and sweet description of the con section here. Now we are done with this particular slide. So let's move on. the race section. This section have resistor details. Resistor due to the metal or via both come under this section. During extraction, if you turn on the tail comment to be dumped, then you can identify a metal or a via simply by its layer number from the additional layer map section coming just after the name map section. We will talk about the layer map in the last slide of this presentation. Now let us focus on the race section. The race section provides resistance network for the net. Entire entries in the race section contain below fields: an identifying integer, two node names of the resistor terminals, resistance value between these two nodes. So one single race line will contain these things: an identifying integer, two terminal node names, and finally the resistance value. The race section is very much important section for the EMIR analysis. For EMIR analysis, the tail comment is a must. For STA, it does not matter whether we keep or remove the tail comment. We are done with this particular slide, so let's move on. The cap section. The cap section contains the simple capacitors and coupling capacitors. This coupling capacitor is very much important in signal integrity and crosstalk analysis. For STA, this section contributes the RC delay calculation of the metal or via interconnection routing. Let us take a tour of the cap section. The cap section provides detailed capacitance information of the net. Entries in the cap section come in two forms: capacitor lumped to the ground and a coupling capacitor. A capacitor lumped to the ground has these below fields: an identifying integer, a node name, and the capacitance value of this node. A coupling capacitor has four fields: an identifying integer, two node names of the two end terminals, and the value of the coupling capacitor between these two nodes. So we will discuss this through an example. All of these sections, all these things will then come clear into your mind. We are done with this particular slide, so let's move on. RCCC section example. We have discussed the theory so far. Now let us dig into the example. Here is our DNet line. There are three fields. The first field of the DNet denotes that this is the beginning of a denote block. So here it is the beginning of the denote block. The next field is the net name, including the hierarchy. The hierarchy separator is / here. So this is the hierarchy separator and this is the node name final. This field can also be a number if the number is mapped with this net name in the name map section. So if we have a mapping of this particular net, so it could be a number instead of the name, and then there will be the node name. This last field denotes the total lumped capacitance of this net. Unit of this capacitance have to be obtained from the header section. This line starts the con section, that is connectivity section. This line gives the first connectivity information of the concerned net. Here, this I refers to the internal pin. The pin E and the total hierarchy up to E is also included in the name. The next field I, here you can see the I, means it's a input pin. The next field *C means that the next two fields are X and Y coordinates. So this is X coordinate and this is Y coordinate. The *L means we have a loading value. The next numerical value is the load value of the pin. This is the input load of this particular pin. This next line is very similar to the previous line we have just discussed, and this is for pin A. And here you can see that up to this the hierarchy is, and here it is I, and here the X and Y coordinates, and here is the load capacitance value. In this next line, we see a bit of difference. Let me explain. The pin name is Z. We can see the hierarchy down to Z. Here we go down hierarchy to Z. The next field O means it is an output pin. Then star C denotes the next two fields are X and Y coordinate. This is X coordinate and this is Y coordinate. These are coordinates in actual layout. The next field is star D. This gives the driving cell name of this pin as the next field. Here the driving cell name is OR2M1P. So this is the driving cell. The next line starts the capacitor section. This means the star cap starts the capacitor section. In this section, we will encounter capacitance and coupling capacitances. The normal capacitances has only one net name followed by its capacitance value. The coupling capacitance has two net names in between which the coupling capacitance is connected and calculated. The coupling capacitance numerical value will be the last field of the line. The first capacitance of the cap section is a simple capacitance. The first field is the capacitance count number, which here starts with 1 and it is incremented by 1 for any subsequent capacitors. You will see as the example proceeds. The next field in the line is the net name including the pin name with a colon separated at the last. This field is a number, then it will denote an internal node instead of a pin, which is usually an alphabet. So here instead of an alphabet, if we have a number, it will denote an internal node. The next field is the capacitance value for pin or node, whichever is applicable. This is the capacitance value. This is the lumped capacitance value or the capacitance with respect to the ground, because this is a simple capacitor expression. The next capacitance, we can see the first field is incremented by 1 and it has become 2, as I just mentioned. Here we have two net names. One has a pin name A, another one has the pin name Z. If we had numbers instead of A or Z, that would mean these are internal nodes. The last field gives the numerical value of the coupling capacitance. So this is the coupling capacitance in between these two nodes or pins here rather. And the example before, it was the lumped capacitance with respect to the ground. So here is the difference of the two kind of capacitance expression. This next capacitance again is a simple capacitance to the ground. You can interpret this as same as before. The next line, that is star res, denotes the beginning of the resistor section. Here in this line, the first field is the identifier, also known as the counter, which increments by the value 1 for any further subsequent resistors. The next two fields are two nodes in between the resistor is connected. So this is node 1 and this is node 2. Here in this case, these are two pins. In case these E and Z are integers or alphanumeric value, they will denote a node instead of pin. The last field here is the resistor's numerical value. The unit can be found in the header section. So the resistance section is very much simple, at it has only one particular format, that is two nodes in between the resistor is connected and the last field is the resistance value. The next resistor has the same format as just we have discussed. And again, this has the same format too. Here comes the star end, which ends the dnet block that we started with the dnet text. Here we started the dnet block with this d_net, and here we end this particular dnet block for this particular net with the star end. So this is the opening and this is the closing of the dnet block. Before concluding here, few more things I would like to mention. When a metal routing is break into several pieces, it creates multiple resistors. Now this breaking into is done by the extraction engine. No designer does this, but the extraction engine, for its calculation purpose and the algorithm, it breaks it down for a long metal piece into multiple shorter metal pieces, which are also represented as resistors. Such two neighboring resistors will have one node common in between them. Their order may be anywhere in the entire res section or the block, but the common thing will be they will have a particular node common. So if you see such resistors inside a single res block, you will understand this is the two section of the same metal routing piece. For EMIR, we dump additional tail comments of all the R, P or CC, that is resistor capacitance and coupling capacitors. From this tail comment, we also get the XY coordinates in the actual layout. For resistors, we get the metal or via layer number also. We are done with this particular example and we can move on to the next slide. Standard parasitic extraction format snippet. Here we will go through a miniature version of a SPEF file. Okay guys, one thing to be very frank here, we cannot squeeze an entire SPEF file in a single slide. I have tailored it and removed the bulges and make it oversimplistic for you just to grasp the entire SPEF in one single shot into your mind. Here is our total SPEF file. This is a snippet. This is not a real SPEF file. This is just for your understanding and educational purpose. Here is the snippet we included in the layer map and the tail comment, which are interdependent. Here you can see that we have the header section, then we have the name map section, then we have ports, and this layer map section is contributed by these tail comments. Whenever we put tail comments, we get this layer map. Then we have a DNet section which has the con, cap, and the rest section we have just described sometimes back. The purpose of this slide is just to imprint the SPEF file structure into your mind. Let me rephrase again. Here goes our header section, then comes our name map section, then comes our port section. The layer map section comes the next. This is associated with the tail comment. Whenever the tail comment is there, we need the layer map, otherwise we don't. Next comes the DNet section, in which we have subsections as con, cap, and res. And here you can see that there is the LVL. It is 23, means here if we go back to layer map, it will point out that here 23 is metal 2. So this resistor is metal 2. Such tail comments, and again I have trimmed it down. There will be XY coordinate values from which you can actually go to the layout. And since this is a metal piece, there will be W and L, that is, it will be a rectangular piece. So length and width, this is length and this is width. So if it is a via, then instead of W and L, here will be A equal to some value, that is the area. For vias we have area because vias are square generally. I think I have given enough details about this snippet. Thank you very much for watching up to this point, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. If you have a kind of a dislike, put that just in kind of words in the comment section, and bye for today.